What?
Sure.
Okay, so welcome to the exhibition debate for IVED 2020.
Here, here.
The motion before the House is, as a democratic government currently facing the rise of political extremist groups, this House would include said groups in the formal political sphere. Without further ado, we'd like to invite the Prime Minister to open the debate and defend the motion in their name.
Here. This debate will occur in the young democracies when these democracies are still new. In there we have lots of people having different ideas on how then these democratic countries will be able to develop. What will happen instead in the status quo is that when these people have different ideas on how this country should develop, they're being shut down by the government. They are not able in order to express their interest. Therefore, they become extremists. Therefore, it's harmful. And as times go, what happens is that the moment government keep on doing so, they become more and more dismissive towards us. We cannot do and then they cannot listen to us anymore. Therefore, it is not beneficial for us any longer in order to keep on doing this, right? Therefore, as the government team, our stance is that what we are going to do is that we are going to allow this extremist group in order to be participating in the current political system. We are talking about they are able in order to do campaigns. They're able in order to propose to present this as a legitimate political party. They be able to propose their candidates in the election and etc. Which means that they have also be abide into the rules and stuff. So two arguments that are being brought in here into today. So first, why then their inclusion is justified within the process of democracy, and secondly, why that is going to be benefiting towards the government in order to control these kind of groups. So moving on to the first one, on why then this inclusion into the current democratic system is justified. So here, understand that these groups they appear that they have specific grievances. We're talking about the feminist movement in India. They have specific interests in order to empower these women so that they be able to live properly. We're talking about people in Papua. They want to have a better life for their people there, and also we're talking about specific group of religious people when they want to be able to practice their religion in a more puristic manner. And also, we're talking about people that have simply different idea on how to progress. Like we're talking about people such as Bernie Sanders and also Elizabeth Warren, who wants to take down the kind of big tech companies, who want to eradicate every system that actually be harmful towards the people in America and other things like that. And what happened in the status quo in these young democracies, when they have this kind of specific interests and also things that different towards what the incumbent government want, is that they've been shut down. They cannot express their interests. We're talking about the Papua activists. The activists in Papua, they've been taken away. They've been put in a prison, and also they cannot just easily spread their information to the others. We're talking about the feminist movement in India. They're not being heard by when they do demonstration and so on. We're talking about these purist religious institutions who not only being denied by the government in order to exercise the things that they want, but also being denied by the majority of their religious groups in order to exercise the things that they want, right? Therefore, this is bad, because now with these people not having the platform in order to express themselves, they are going to go rogue, and therefore this leads into them being extremists. This leads being them into doing things that we don't want to do at the start of the day, right? Therefore, it's become us, the government's duty, in order to contribute back towards them, in order to make amends towards them, and at least give them a platform in order to give out their ideas, and also to express things, express their differences to the people, right? Especially since in the context they are rising, people are more aware against these specific groups' interests. Opposition might say that that these groups are going against government, therefore it's not justified for us to include them. But we think that the democratic process themselves is already in the democratic process themselves. Chaos existing within them is already normal. We're talking about when you have in the current status quo, when specific people have some demands, they can just simply do demonstration and so on. And we think that it is the same in this case. Therefore, it is fine for them in order to be included within the current democratic process. So, second argument about why that is going to be benefiting towards the government. As a government, we want to be able to control. We want to be able to negotiate with these people. We want to be able to control these people so that so that we can be able to so that we can be able to also impose our agenda and them not being dismissive toward us, right? But what happened is but what happened in the status quo when we label them as extremists is that we're going to dismiss them. We're going to we're not even want to engage to their differences because we label them extremists. We label them as the far end of our demands. Therefore, this leads into us not being able to do. This leads into them not being able to. This leads into them not just not being able to understand what kind of grievances that the government want, but also that they become more and more aggressive towards us. We are talking about the people in GAM and OPM that actually become more and more aggressive to the government of Indonesia simply because their government of Indonesia don't want to engage to their specific interests because they label these groups as extremists. Therefore, they become more and more aggressive just for the sake of their grievances can be heard out by the government of Indonesia. So what is going to happen in our side is that what we're going to include them in the current political system. We are talking about, yes, in my model earlier, that they can participate in campaign, they can propose their candidate in the election as political party, and also they have to engage by the rules. And this is going to be a good for. This is going to be a good. Why? Because the moment they actually be able into engaging into our current political system, the fight is not only the incumbent government versus the extremists. It's going to be about the whole democratic process versus this group of people. What is going to happen is that they have to abide by the rules. They have to abide by these rules of the current democratic system. They have to fight against the other political groups that also can do campaign and so on. And the moment that actually these groups are violating these rules and etc., it's become easier for government in order to call them out, right? Because right now because right now the moment they actually not being included within our platform, even if that, as I said, we call them out for violating specific rules, doing black campaign and so on, we cannot say they won't listen to us because in the discussion we put them in the lower we put them not as equals, but in the political system we put them as equals. Therefore, what is going to happen is that we can and also they are more likely to listen to the rules. They are more likely to listen to the laws that exist within the status quo, and therefore this makes them be able. This makes us as the government can control them better because they have to abide by the rules. They have to be able to. They have to be able into they have to be able into doing the things that actually abiding by these laws, so that or else they'll got called out. And the moment these groups are being called out by the government, this makes the government be able into controlling them. They can control these groups in order to to what extent these groups can do things and etc. Therefore, it's going to be beneficial for government the moment that they actually try to go off the grounds, and then it's going to be it's also going to be beneficial for us. What have we proven to you? We've proven to you about why then it's justified for these people in order to be included because it's government state, and also it's already inherent nature of the democracy, and secondly, it's going to be able to benefit the government because they have to play by the rules. And because of this, very proud to propose the motion.